Parallel world. Earth. Xia country on the streets of Tumen City. A black Rolls-Royce Phantom is driving towards Shanghai Hospital, followed by Mercedes-Benz. The driver of the Rolls-Royce drove the car without a word, for fear of touching his master. But Qin Tian, who was sitting in the back seat of the Rolls-Royce Phantom, had a somewhat ugly expression. Of course, his face was ugly, not because his son had his leg broken, but because he is a traverser. In the previous life, he was also called Qin Tian. It's just that I didn't expect that I would cross into my body in the parallel world. The self in this world is a rich and handsome 40-year-old uncle. It is said to be one of the richest people in Tumen. It stands to reason that Qin Tian should be happy to become a rich man at once. Indeed, Qin Tian was very excited at first. He had worked hard for so many years in his previous life and couldn't afford a house, but he was worth tens of billions in this world. There are still several real estates underhand. In this case, if you change it to anyone, I am afraid that you will be unable to sleep with excitement. Qin Tian is naturally no exception, even if the age of this body is 11 or 12 years older than him in the previous life. Only when he heard that his 20-year-old son was admitted to the hospital with his leg broken, he vaguely felt wrong. In this peaceful age, who is so rich and powerful, who does not dare to touch his son? Don't you still have to look at the owner to beat the dog? At that moment, his system awakened. So Qin Tian knew everything. This is a big villain system. The system told him that he had traveled into the world of novels similar to that of the male-frequency urban Shuangwen. The system did not say what novel it is. He only knows that there is a protagonist in this world, but not himself. He is just a rich second generation who was pretended to be slapped by the protagonist and was finally destroyed. Oh no, it's the rich second generation father. He is also the current patriarch of the Qin family. Therefore, Qin Tian, who knew that he would be destroyed, couldn't be happy at all. Because of the sand sculpture author, in order to create a sense of coolness, he designed himself as a very strange villain. He is handsome, rich, and powerful, but his wife is still single after more than 10 years of death. He was obviously a big man, but because of his son, he insisted on having trouble with the poor dick who came down from the mountain, the protagonist, and finally became a stepping stone for the protagonist to pretend to be a face. Damn, when I first read this kind of novel, I thought it was cool, but now it's my turn to be beaten in the face, which doesn't feel good at all. Qin Tian cursed in his heart. Reading novels, because the roles are different, it will be very cool to see the protagonist who is also the Diaosi, the second generation of face-slapped rich. But now, how to think is unreasonable. How could such a powerful character himself be slapped in the face by a protagonist and finally killed? This unscientific. Huh. Qin Tian took a deep breath. Forget it. They come. The security. Since crossing is a fact, such a bloody fate can never happen to him again. According to the normal plot, the protagonist has just arrived in Tumen and is currently fledgling. He still has a chance to come back. Concentrated and glanced at the driver ahead. Name, Li Jun. Sex, male. Age, 38 years old. Occupation, the host, bodyguard and driver. Trust, 90%. Such information made Qin Tian nod slightly. This is the villain's eye, the reward you got when you first got the system. Trust is above 90. The mind is firm, can't be instigated, and can be trusted. Trust 70 to 89. Basically trustworthy, willing to work for you, but there is a possibility of being instigated by others. Trust 50 to 70. Willing to serve you, but jeopardizes self-interest and may betray the host. Trust 30 to 50. Willing to work for you, but it is also easy to be bought by others. Trust 1 to 30. Untrustworthy. Note, trust is negative and hates you. Please be careful of such people. This is the description of the villain's eye. The function is to see the basic information and trust of people around you. Basic information is not very useful for Qin Tian, but this trust level is very useful. At least let him know which people around him can be trusted and which ones can't be trusted. According to the system, a 90% trust level means that it will not betray and can be completely trusted. And Li Jun? I rescued him and helped Li Jun's family, so Li Jun's trust is 90%. In the novel, Li Jun is also a loyal protector of the Lord, but the protagonist instigates separation from the back, making Qin Tian no longer trust Li Jun, and even expelled him from the Qin family. And Li Jun himself, after being expelled from the Qin family by Qin Tian, still stood up when the protagonist confronted Qin Tian. Even after the Qin family was destroyed in the end, the protagonist wanted to recruit him, but he refused. This shows that Li Jun is absolutely trustworthy. President Qin, the hospital is here. The Rolls-Royce Phantom steadily stopped downstairs in the inpatient department of the hospital. Li Jun in a black suit said respectfully to Qin Tian. Qin Tian recovered and took a look outside the car. In the hospital, patients and their families come and go in an endless stream. Okay. He nodded slightly, and after finishing his suit a little, Li Jun just opened the door of the car. The 4 bodyguards in suits and sunglasses in the Mercedes-Benz behind. When they saw this, they quickly got out of the car. My god, this is Rolls-Royce. TSK Tusk, it's so rich. With this car, Lousy can't afford it for the rest of his life. I'll go. This man still has a bodyguard? Is it a big shot? Probably. As soon as I got out of the car, Qin Tian vaguely heard the comments of passers-by around him, and many people even cast envious glances at Qin Tian. This kind of highly anticipated feeling is very cool. But Qin Tian didn't want to enjoy these now, and walked quickly toward the intensive care unit on the 6th floor of the inpatient department. In the intensive care unit. Tap, tap. Damn, did you give Lousy an anesthetic? There is no need for anesthetics for the examination, and, mister, please clean your mouth. Clean? Clean F asterisk CK coins. My father is Qin Tian from the Qin group. You can force Lousy again. Believe it or not, Lousy will ask your dean to fire you immediately? Damn, how come you have such a wasteful son? Before entering the door, Qin Tian heard a yelling voice coming from inside. This voice Qin Tian is very familiar. It is his trash son, Qin Shiji, who has been pretended to be slapped by the protagonist and has experience. Qin Tian traveled through this world. It was the matter of last night. In other words, he did not travel for long. Just after receiving the memory this morning, He learned that his son was hospitalized with a broken leg. So, no matter what, he should come and see him as a father. Just came outside the ward and heard Qin Shiji's yelling voice. Qin Tian was really speechless. Read more at Hotmail Novel XYZ. This F***CK is worthy of the rich second-generation villain in the novel. Just listening to this crying voice is nothing but a waste. A little hurt is such a virtue? How can such a character beat the protagonist? You know, the real rich second generation is not like this at all, okay? Qin Tian also knew several rich second generations in his previous life. Whether you admit it or not, in fact, under normal circumstances, children from rich families are more intelligent, knowledgeable, and self-cultivating than children from poor families. People have money, power, background, relationships, and can choose good genes. Why is the educated child not as good as your poor family? Even if there are one or two scums who are not good at discipline and are more rebellious, doesn't it mean that the second generation of the rich are like this? Is there no scum for children from poor families? Obviously more. Okay? In the ward, a doctor is examining Qin Shiji. Hearing Qin Shiji's words, the doctor who examined him was obviously stunned. Qin Group? Qin Group? How does he not know? This is one of the most well-known groups in Tumen. The largest supermarket and shopping mall in Tumen is their home. Unexpectedly, this kid is actually the son of the Qin family? Huh. You know you are afraid? If you know you are afraid, then give Lousy an anesthetic as soon as possible. Don't stand there and grind the chirping. The Qin Shiji continued to shout. He has never suffered from this kind of suffering since he was a child. Being interrupted by that kid's leg alive, he is in pain now. But, Mr. Qin. The doctor found out the identity of Qin Shiji, a little embarrassed. Because the anesthetic was only used during the operation, it will affect the operation if it is used now. But if you don't need it, the doctor was a little embarrassed. But at this moment, boom, Qin Tian pushed open the door of the ward, followed by Li Jun. For bodyguards in suits stood guard at the door. Dad, you finally came, Dad. You must take revenge for me. You. That kid he took my leg. Seeing his father, Qin Shiji couldn't help crying. And Qin Tian looked at his cheap son. This guy looks a bit similar to himself. It's just that this weak and uncontrollable wind, crying, the character of the fox and the tiger, makes Qin Tian a little disgusted. Thinking that he couldn't enjoy the life of the rich, it was all because this kid had provoked the protagonist, and Qin Tian wouldn't be angry. 3 steps and 2 steps to Qin Shiji, raised his hand and slapped his son. Snapped. Crying? Are so many adults, and still crying? Manly man. This little herd is crying, and it's a shame to you, Lousy. Be quiet. Deathly quiet. Seeing Qin Tian's deity coming, the doctor who was about to explain, was slapped by Qin Tian's slap. Even Li Jun who followed up was stunned. Qin Tian is a person with a height of 180 and a well-proportioned figure. The appearance is also very handsome, and the whole reveals the charm of a mature man. It's just that, although he is famous for being harsh, no one has ever seen him move rough. Not to mention beating his own son. Qin Shiji covered his face with an expression of disbelief, and then roared. Dad, why are you hitting me? Hearing that his son actually dared to yell at himself, Qin Tian's eyes were slightly cold. Hit you? Lousy hits you because you are more than enough to succeed. To make yourself like this for a woman? How did Lousy give birth to such a dumb thing like you? Qin Tian said with a hatred of iron but not steel. In fact, he just thought about hand addiction simply because he couldn't get used to Qin Shiji's wimpy look. Don't say it, it's pretty cool to fight. I didn't let you give birth to me. Qin Shiji covered his face and muttered in his mouth. What did you say? Hearing Qin Shiji talk back, Qin Tian's hand couldn't help but itch again, and he raised his hand and wanted to slap him again. It was originally. Seeing his father's anger, Qin Shiji shrank his neck, but the slap did not fall. He still mustered up his courage. You are just a side effect of giving birth to me, and the main purpose is not to enjoy the manufacturing process. Besides, your son has been beaten, so you don't need to avenge me, so you beat me? Qin Shiji was a little wronged. Humph. Qin Tian resisted the urge to beat his cheap son, put away his palm, and snorted coldly. I must repay the grudge, but this will not affect me to beat you. What? Snapped. Before Qin Shiji could react, Qin Tian suddenly raised the palm of his other hand, and directly slapped Qin Shiji's cheek on the other side. Dad, you. If you dare to talk back to Lousy in the future, Lousy will kill you. Qin Tian's voice is a bit cold. Qin Shiji was so wronged. He didn't understand what medicine his father had taken wrong today. He used to talk about himself, but he never did it. Seeing his father's murderous look, and then hearing his father wanting to avenge him, Qin Shiji didn't dare to talk back. At this moment, a system prompt sounded in Qin Tian's mind. Ding, successfully educated my son, slightly changed the plot trend, got the villain value plus 300, changed the plot trend for the first time, and rewarded the host villain skill. God-level poison medicine. Ding, the villain system all is open. Hearing this voice, Qin Tian was overjoyed in his heart. Read more at Hotmail Novel XYZ. Before he could react, a special message came into his mind. God-level poison medicine. Horrible. Qin Tian who got this skill couldn't help taking a breath. This thing actually contains various methods of extraction and production of strange poisons. Among them, there are several types of colorless, odorless, and highly toxic. It can be said that killing is invisible. Too frightening. Worthy of being a system. By the way, I took a look at my system panel. Host, Qin Tian.
Physique, 90.
Charm, 500. Luck, 100. Health, 70. The average value for a normal adult male is 100. Villain value, 300. Currently possesses skills, God-level poison medicine. This is the system property panel of Qin Tian. Because of his predecessor's focus on career, his physique and physical fitness are not up to the standard of a normal adult male. But the charm is several times that of normal people. It's normal to think about it. His body is only 40 years old and he is in his prime. And there is money, beauty, and power. Such him, wherever he goes, is the focus. The glamour value exploding table is reasonable. As for why the value of luck is the same as that of normal people, That's because he is now the villain. According to the system, the protagonist will eat away the luck of his villain. The thing of luck is invisible and intangible, but if a person with a low luck value is asked to oppose a person with a high luck value, some unexpected results will result. It's like my luck is not worth the average person's level now. In this case, if you go straight to the protagonist, I am afraid that your life will be in danger. This shows the role of air luck. Of course, this is not the time to consider this. What Shin Tian cares most about now is educating his son. Can he still get system rewards? It feels very good. System. What's the use of this villain value? Shin Tian asked in his mind. Although he knows that as long as he can change his fate, every small link can get a certain villain value. But he did not have time to ask about the role of this villain. Hearing Shin Tian's answer, the mechanically cold female voice of the system faintly sounded. The host can redeem some worldly foreign objects in the villain system mall, or save up to 1,000 points, and randomly select skills or items that enhance personal strength. Can a lottery be drawn for 1,000 villains? Is there a villain system mall? Shin Tian raised his eyebrows and saw a mall button in the system. Click to enter, and some things in the mall make Shin Tian's whole person bad. Currency. Xiagua currency, 1 point of villain value is equal to 100,000. Shops, commercial streets, every 100 is equal to 100 villains. Luxury car, Bugatti Veyron, worth 500 villains. Shares, 1% of the shares of Goose Factory, worth 1,000 villains. A little villain value can be exchanged for 100,000? The merchandise is so dazzling that Shin Tian is dazzled. Although he is now a billionaire, he has not enjoyed the life of a rich man. At this time, he saw that 1 point of villain value can be exchanged for 100,000 yuan. How can he not be surprised? In other words, just now I educated my son, and only got 30 million yuan for the money? It's so easy to get the money. However, Shin Tian is already a rich man, and also a traverser. After a brief consternation, he has already recovered. For the time being, I haven't talked about the system mall and the poisonous medicine. Sitting on the sofa in the special guard room, he calmly looked at his cheap son. Now, let's talk about it. In his previous life, he didn't even get married, let alone his son. Unexpectedly, in this world, his son is so old. This feeling is also peculiar. Huh? Say, what are you talking about? Seeing the dad who was still in a daze, Qin Shiji was a little dazed when he suddenly sat down and said such a sentence. Of course it's about what happened. If you don't clarify what happened, how can Laozi avenge you? Shin Tian couldn't help but want to hit someone again. He is also a rich second-generation son. How can his own son be the same as mentally handicapped? Looking at Li Jun next to him, Li Jun understood what Shin Tian meant. He quickly called the doctor next to him and closed the door of the ward. Having been a Shin Tian driver for so long, he still has this vision. Oh, it's like this. Hearing that his father wanted to avenge himself, and seeing Li Jun greet the doctor to go out again, Qin Shiji put away his inner grievances and began to complain to Shin Tian with added enthusiasm and jealousy. 10 minutes later, Shin Tian's complexion was even more ugly. This trash. I saw a girl on the street and wanted to deal with other girls. As a result, he was stopped by a young man who had just arrived in the city with his hiking bag on his back. Then Qin Shiji provoked each other, and the two sides clashed. Qin Shiji's bodyguard was overturned, and Qin Shiji was also interrupted. A young man who had just arrived in the city, because a girl overturned the bodyguard, also interrupted the Qin family's eldest master's leg? How do you look at this kind of thing? If you guessed it right, the young man who injured him should be the protagonist. Dad, you must give me revenge. That kid interrupted my leg. It is equivalent to hitting your old face. If you don't make a move, how can our Qin family's face remain? However, Dad, that kid has a good skill. The bodyguards you raised don't seem to be his opponents. If you find him, you'd better arrange 2 killers to go. Shut up, lousy. Read more at hotfulnovel.xyz. Before Qin Shiji finished speaking, Qin Tian interrupted him. Lousy needs you to teach me when he does things? Arrange a killer and arrange you? Listening to Qin Shiji's increasingly outrageous words, Qin Tian wanted to get angry again. Arrange the killer? Arrange for Mao's killer. Such a crooked idea can be thought of by his own stupid son. Qin Tian believes that if he really arranges a killer, he must send experience to the protagonist. Not only does it have no effect, but it also stuns the snake. Damn, routines, all routines. Thinking of this, Qin Tian forcibly endured the anger in his heart. Huh, forget it, don't worry about this matter. You can recover in the hospital with peace of mind. I'll take care of other things. Okay, thank you, Dad. Qin Shiji smiled. Qin Tian waved his hand casually. Remember, this time is a little more peaceful. Don't give Lousy some moths all day long, and don't think about revenge. If you let Lousy know that you secretly retaliate, Lousy will definitely take it, the other leg will interrupt you. Got it, Dad. Qin Shiji was a little wronged. He felt that his father was a bit irritable today, so he had better be honest. Oldly, Qin Tian called in the driver Li Jun. President Qin. Li Jun respectfully said after coming in. Go and call my son's doctor. Okay, President Qin. Li Jun left respectfully. Qin Tian took advantage of this time to look at Qin Shiji's injury. There are many bruises on this kid, but all are minor injuries. The real serious injury is a severe fracture of the lower leg. Does it look like surgery is really needed? Damn, this kid is very ruthless. Qin Tian's eyes flashed with coldness. Sure enough, when the person who was slapped became himself, it felt wrong everywhere. While thinking about it, Laoli returned to the ward with the doctor and 2 young nurses. Qin, President Qin, are you looking for me? Because there was a quarrel with Qin Shiji before. Therefore, at this moment, he was obviously a little timid in the face of the giant crocodile Qin Tian and 2 men. Qin Tian didn't even look at him, so he spoke directly. His injury can be treated as it should be, without considering the opinion of this little bastard. Huh. The doctor was stunned. Didn't hear clearly? Qin Tian frowned. Listen clearly. The doctor was embarrassed and nodded quickly. He didn't expect Qin Tian to say this at all, because in his dictionary, a father who is so aware of Keheo can't give birth to such a wasteful son. Qin Shiji is so stupid. Shouldn't he be the kind of father who suppresses others? That's good. Qin Tian nodded. Oldly. Let's go. Okay, President Qin. Huh? Dad, it's her, this woman. Qin Tian was about to take Li Jun to leave, but Qin Shiji screamed again. Qin Tian turned his head and saw Qin Shiji pointing at the little nurse next to the doctor. Qin Tian glanced intently. This little nurse was about 163 in height. Wearing a white nurse's uniform, he has not had time to wear a mask. Willow leaf eyebrow, melon seed face. The eyebrows are clear and the eyes are fair, and the skin is fair and wind snow. It seems that there is quite a youthful and lively atmosphere. This is the heroine template? It's not the people around. The villain's eyes can't see the basic information. She? Is your leg broken because of her? Yes, Dad. I know her when she turns to ashes. Seeing the young man lying on the hospital bed, Tang Shui was also speechless. She took a long day off today to go shopping. I ran into the dude brother Qin Shiji at the mall. If it hadn't happened to meet a young man who helped others, she might not be able to leave. It's just that she didn't expect that the young man whose leg was broken would actually come to their hospital for treatment. And this guy is Qin Tian's son? Just now, he deliberately covered up his appearance, and he was recognized by this guy. It's you. Now that he was recognized, Tang Shui admitted decisively and generously. She saw the conversation between Qin Tian and Qin Shiji just now. She also knew the identity of Qin Tian. Although she offended Qin Tian, she was also a little scared, but after hearing the conversation between the two just now, she subconsciously thought that Qin Tian should be a little bit easier to talk than his son. Yes, I didn't expect it either. But a flash of anger flashed in Qin Shiji's eyes. Little girl, you are dead today, and now my dad is here. Neither you nor that kid can run away. What am I running? You obviously did it first. Tang Shui was unwilling to show weakness, and felt a little wronged in her heart. Because of what happened this morning, she was the victim. Qin Shiji disdained. What about my hands? Who makes that kid not know how to promote? You? Then you deserve it. Xiaoxue, don't talk anymore. Seeing that Tang Shui hadn't backed down, the doctor hurriedly scolded. This Tang Shui is good everywhere, but she doesn't have any eyesight. Didn't you see who is standing next to him? That was the father of the kid in the hospital bed, and the president of the Qin group. He is also a well-known rich man in the upper class of Tumen. Read more at hopfulnovel.xyz. Based on your family background, how can you challenge others? Qin, President Qin, is there any misunderstanding in this? The doctor was a little embarrassed. After the conversation between the two, he seemed to understand something, and he quickly came out to make a round. Tang Shui is from their hospital. Although he is usually carefree, he has a correct style and no problems with his personality. It stands to reason that he should speak for Tang Shui, but Qin Tian, he can't afford to offend at all. Even the person behind their hospital is just on the same level as Qin Tian. Therefore, he can only pull the matter into a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Misunderstanding, if not because of... Shut up, don't you feel embarrassed enough? Qin Tian looked at Qin Shiji coldly, then scolded again. Although from Qin Shiji's confession just now, it was learned that he was looking for a target with this girl. Then somehow he was beaten by a kid. But based on his understanding of novel routines and Qin Shiji's usual style, even if he thinks with his butt, he knows the real reason. Thinking of this, he looked at the girl. Little girl, what's your name? Huh? My name is Tang Shui. Facing Qin Tian's calm eyes, Tang Shui appeared a little scared, and subconsciously reported her name. But as soon as the name was spoken, she regretted it. What is this person asking my name for? Isn't it because you want revenge? It's over. It's over. How could I be so stupid that I told him his real name all at once? With his energy in Tumen, it's easy to get revenge on yourself, right? Tang Shui. Qin Tian thoughtfully, well, a good name. You don't have to be afraid. Qin Tian is not a person who does not distinguish between right and wrong. I will investigate things clearly today. If it is not your fault, I will not hold you accountable. That's it, Lao Li, let's go first. Okay, President Qin. Seeing Qin Tian leaving, everyone in the ward looked at each other. Qin Shiji was a little unwilling, but Tang Shui, who was a little worried, didn't respond to Qin Tian's words. Such a dull Qin Shiji would have such a sensible father? This is not true, is it? Qin Tian quickly came downstairs in the inpatient department. After sitting on the Rolls-Royce, he looked at Li Jun in the driving seat. Oldly, keep 2 bodyguards, look at the boy Shiji, don't let him do anything wrong, and find someone to investigate the boy who beat him and Tang Shui's family background. Investigate Tang Shui's family background? Well, stare at this Tang Shui by the way. Li Jun was taken aback for a moment, and then respectfully nodded. Okay, President Qin. I'll order to go down immediately. After that, Li Jun took out his cell phone and dialed 2 calls. At almost the same time, the system prompt sounded. Ding, the band's son succeeded, slightly changed the plot trend, and got the villain value plus 100. Ding, Tang Shui, one of the heroines, succeeded in changing the impression of the host, slightly changing the plot direction, gaining a villain value of plus 300, and regaining his luck by 10 points. Okay, is this okay? Seeing the sudden system prompt, Qin Tian couldn't help but froze. When he first got the system before, he thought it would be difficult to change his fate against the sky, but he didn't expect it to be so easy. Just come to visit his son. The villain value has increased to 700, and also added 10 points of luck. Host, Qin Tian.
Physique, 90.
Charm, 500. Luck, 110. Health, 70. The average value for a normal adult male is 100. Villain value, 700. Currently possesses skills, God-level poison medicine. The luck value has increased by 10 points, and the other attributes have not changed. Okay. Seeing his attribute panel, Qin Tian, sitting in the back seat of Rolls-Royce, seemed to think of something. System. Is there no way to increase the other attributes on this attribute panel? If I remember correctly, the protagonist in the urban novel has an explosive presence. It's always that the king of soldiers retired and the god of war returned. With his current physique and health state that is not as good as that of ordinary people. If you encounter these protagonists using force on yourself, there is no way. In ordinary urban novels, the big villain can't do the protagonist. A large part of the reason is the problem of the value of force. So if possible, Qin Tian really wants to improve his combat effectiveness. Upon hearing Qin Tian's question, the cold voice of the system faintly sounded. The luck value can only be increased by plundering the protagonist's luck. When the host's luck is more than double that of the protagonist, it can be directly obliterated. Can only plunder the protagonist's luck? Qin Tian raised his eyebrows. In other words, the 10-point luck value just now originally belonged to that protagonist? Part of your chi luck was originally the host, but it was taken away by the protagonist. You just took back some. So it's like this. Qin Tian thoughtfully. What about other attributes? Charm value is calculated from the host's body, face value, and wealth. Increasing the value of face and wealth can increase the value of charm. Physique and health values can be strengthened through food supplements and exercise. You mean, you are only responsible for helping with the calculation of these data, and you are not responsible for helping to improve, right? The host can use the villain value to purchase items to improve appearance or physical fitness in the system store. Buy in the mall? Qin Tian squinted. I quickly checked the system mall. Read more at hotpillnovel.xyz. There are too many things inside, and Qin Tian hasn't noticed it before. Search for pill. Suddenly a dazzling array of products appeared again.
Beauty Dan, 300 villain value.
Millennium Ganoderma, 500 villain value. Consolidate the original pill, 1000 villain value. Wanyan Lao's Han Ginseng. Obviously, these items are genuine, but compared to other products, they seem to be more expensive. Millennium Ganoderma needs 500 villains? Dude is equivalent to a Bugatti. Sure enough, for the rich, good health is more important than money. Qin Tian didn't rush to buy, because he didn't need Mayan pill for the time being. Other things are obviously too expensive. In his current situation, it seems more cost-effective to store a lottery with 1,000 villains. Mr. Qin, the information about the kid who beat someone hasn't been found yet, but that little girl named Tang Shui has already got the information. In the afternoon, Lishan Private Villa. Li Jun took a pile of documents and sent it to Qin Tian. This villa is privately owned by Qin Tian and covers a large area. Although there are bodyguards on duty outside the villa, but Li Jun, a housekeeper surnamed Feng, and an aunt who cleans and cooks during the day all live outside the villa. There is only Qin Tian in the villa. It looks a little deserted, but Qin Tian just crossed over and didn't care about it for the time being. Taking a look at the information on the table, Qin Tian had to sigh with the efficiency of the rich. Although Tang Shui works in the hospital, it is not difficult to check her information, but what she said only at noon has been checked and verified in less than 3 hours. It can fully explain the speed at which the wealthy can do things. Picking up the information on the table and checking it, Qin Tian nodded involuntarily. Sure enough, I didn't guess wrong. Miss Qin, what's the matter? Seeing Qin Tian's appearance, Li Jun was a little confused. This girl named Tang Shui, is there a problem? There is no problem, forget it. This matter doesn't make much sense to you. Qin Tian waved his hand at will. You go down and rest first. If you want to use a car tonight, I will call you again. Okay, President Qin. Li Jun, who was allowed to leave work, departed respectfully. This Tang Shui is a heroine. Lying on the leather sofa, Qin Tian muttered to himself. Although the system didn't tell him what kind of world he traveled through, but he had already guessed. And when the system gave the reward in the morning, it clearly marked Tang Shui as one of the heroines. Therefore, of course Qin Tian has to investigate. There must be more than one heroine in urban novels. This is beyond doubt. This Tang Shui is from a family of Chinese medicine, and there is a grandfather in his family who is a famous old Chinese doctor in Tumen. From this, it can be judged that this male protagonist should be taking the route of psychic doctors and urbanization. The medical god disciple went down the mountain to look for the old friend or fiancé of the master. On the way, he would save the beauty if he met a beautiful woman. It is a routine used in genius urban novels. It's no wonder that the system directly rewards himself with poison medicine skills. So the male lead knows medicine skills? Haha, it's interesting. Qin Tian thoughtfully, then a wicked smile flashed on his face. If you change some of the views of the heroine, you can get 300 villain points and 10 luck points. If you give the heroine by yourself, how many villain points can you get? Qin Tian's heart is somewhat evil. But, is he the villain? What is a villain? Only those who have to fight against the protagonist by all means can be called a villain. Therefore, his heart is a bit evil, which is quite normal. Qin Tian was a poor person in his previous life, and often lamented the kind of poor person who was injustice in the world. He often thinks in his own mind, why are people so rich when they are born and don't have to worry about life? And not only do they have no parents since childhood, but also work hard for a lifetime and can't afford a house. Don't expect how much an orphan loves the world. Don't persuade others to be kind to others without suffering. Qin Tian is not a good person at all. Moreover, he is familiar with countless novels, and he knows how unreasonable the protagonists of these novels are. Decathlon at a young age. Not only the combat effectiveness is exploding, but there are also intricate social relationships. Qin Tian didn't bother to complain about what these guys rely on to manage these relationships. He only knows that if he wants to live happily now, he must use the villain value to improve himself and solve these protagonists. Otherwise, he is the one who will be destroyed in the end. The fastest way to search for the villain's value is to snatch the protagonist's chances and sisters. There is nothing wrong with this. Men like young and beautiful girls, and his Qin Tian is no exception. Although he is in this parallel world, his body is already 40 years old, but the soul in his body is only 28 years old. A single young man without a girlfriend, who likes young and beautiful women. What's the problem? No problem at all. So Qin Tian calmed down and began to think about countermeasures. The other side. When Qin Tian returned to the villa to rest, Tang Shui of Shanghai Hospital also gradually came off work. She was in a trance today. She applied for the medical university because of her family. Currently a student of medical university, intern at Shanghai Hospital. For her, what happened today is really weird. I met that guy teasing me on the road, but luckily I met that bun. Otherwise, you may be in danger. But now, the person who beaten the buns was the young master of the Qin group. This is a big deal. If the Qin family retaliated, how could this little family of Chinese medicine resist it? Brother Lin has a cup of tea and wait a while. Xiaoxue should be off work soon. Tang Jiaji Shirtang is a traditional Chinese medicine museum opened by Tang Dishuan, the elder of the Tang family. The business hours are Monday to Friday, from 9 in the morning to 9 in the evening. Every time Tang Shui got off work, she would come here to help her grandfather and consolidate her medical skills. Today, as soon as I parked the car and before entering the door, I heard my grandfather say such a sentence. Tang Shui was a little strange. This is Grandpa's voice? Who is he talking to? How respectful is it? Thinking of this, he stopped. The voice inside also followed. It's okay, Elder Don. I'm not in a hurry. A young man's lazy voice reached Tang Shui's ears. This voice is so familiar. Tang Shui was stunned and walked into Ji Shirtang in 2 steps. Soon she saw 2 familiar figures. A year old and rare, with white beard and hair, she is a Chinese medicine master in Tumen and her grandfather Tang Dishuan. The other one is a young man, dressed casually, leaning on the chair with a lazy expression. Hey, Xiaoxue is back?
Come, let me introduce to you.
This little brother is called Lin Feng. He just arrived today. Ready to? It's you? Oh, beauty, we meet again. Before Tang Dishuan finished speaking, the 2 looked at each other and greeted each other. Tang Shui was a little surprised, and Lin Feng laughed. Seeing this scene, Tang Dishuan was a little confused. Do you know each other? Seeing Lin Feng panicked, Tang Shui hurriedly put her bag next to her and pulled her grandfather aside. Grandpa, why did he come to our house? Tang Shui didn't care about Grandpa's words, but stared at the lazy young man. Hearing this, Tang Dishuan was even more confused. Little brother Lin and I are old acquaintances. He has something to do when he goes down the mountain this time. Now I am going to stay in our house temporarily. Is there any problem? Oh, of course there is a problem. The problem is big. Tang Shui didn't care about Brother Lin or Brother Lin, and quickly explained what happened today. It's like this morning. After a while. What? You? Are you serious? Tang Dishuan looked surprised. As soon as this Lin Feng came here, he broke the leg of the son of the top richest man in Tumen. Why don't you go to heaven? Of course it's true. If you don't believe me, ask him. Tang Shuichao Lin Feng made a nuisance. Tang Dishuan glanced at Lin Feng, who was sitting on the sofa with his head resting on both hands. Tremblingly walked in front of him. No need to ask. I have heard everything you say. Lin Feng's lazy voice sounded again. What she said is the truth. I interrupted Qin Shiji's leg. Huh. Tang Dishuan's legs were frightened. How can this be good? Brother Lin, the Qin family is so powerful. If you really want to retaliate, the old will not be able to protect you. Or else. You leave this city and go to other cities to avoid the limelight? Tang Dishuan asked tentatively. The Qin family, Tang Dishuan can't afford to provoke him, but he won't hand over Lin Feng either. Because Lin Feng is the disciple of his benefactor. You can't be ungrateful yourself. Stop the limelight? Lin Feng smiled contemptuously. Ha, you can rest assured. It just interrupted that kid's leg. Although I don't know how powerful his Qin family is in Tumen, they can't help me. Moreover, even if the Qin family comes to him, I promise that it won't drag you down. The meaning in Lin Feng's words is very simple. Qin family? Laozi is not afraid at all. And this time I came to Tumen to find my fiancé. I didn't find my fiancé. How can I go? It's just breaking the leg? Listening to Lin Feng's understatement, Tang Shui felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. She still doesn't know how good Lin Feng is, so she doesn't know what Lin Feng is thinking. She only knows, although what happened this morning was because of herself. But if the Qin family were to know that Lin Feng was in their own home, their family would definitely be implicated when the Qin family dealt with Lin Feng. Thinking of this, she looked at her grandfather and then at Lin Feng, and she was lost in thought. In such a big villa, I only live in myself? It's really a waste. 7 o'clock in the evening. Looking at the huge Lishan villa, Qin Tian, who sorted out the memory in his mind again, finally couldn't help but complain. The Qin family is powerful, and naturally there is more than Qin Tian in the family. There is an old man who has retreated to the second line, and there are a few brothers and sisters in the middle. There are many nephews and nieces below, but so many people each have their own mansions, villas, and families. Only Qin Tian is alone now. There isn't even a young woman in this family. This is not in line with the personality of Qin Tian, tall, rich, and handsome. You know, the villa of the Qin family is not so big. The whole is like a manor. There is a front yard, a backyard, a rockery, a lawn, and a swimming pool. Both the front yard and the backyard have small buildings dedicated to servants. There is also a helicopter parked on the lawn. It's a bit deserted to live alone in such a big, high-end place. Jingle bell. When Qin Tian was thinking wildly, the landline bell in the living room rang suddenly. What? Landline? That's right. It's the kind of landline with a quaint, gilded body. Anyway, Qin Tian doesn't know why many rich people like this retro equipment. Without thinking too much, Qin Tian picked up the phone in the past. Ms. Qin. Li Jun's voice came over the phone. The man who injured the young master has been found. Xiaolu, one of Qin Tian's bodyguards, has seen him in Tang Dishuan's Jishitang. He talked and laughed with Tang Dishuan. It seems that both sides should know each other. Li Jun's voice was a bit angry, and at the same time he also had a trace of admiration for Qin Tian. Before Qin Tian asked him to stare at Tang Shui, he was still a little unsure. Now I understand it completely. As expected of his own boss, he guessed that there might be something wrong with that girl early in the morning. Okay. Qin Tian nodded unsurprisingly. I know. Read more at hotfulnovel.xyz. Mr. Qin, do you want me to let Xiaolu take 2 more people to bring him to see you? Li Jun said coldly. In this world, wealthy people do whatever they want. In his mind, even if Qin Shiji is not in all sorts of things, it is not something a poor boy can hurt. Don't be done this. Qin Tian stopped quickly. He believes that this protagonist can injure his bodyguard, and his combat effectiveness is certainly not weak. How many bodyguards are sent? It is estimated that they will send experience. So you must not be routine. This kid is not an ordinary person. So many people you take will be in vain. Then President Qin meant, call the police. Okay, President Qin. What? Report to the police? Li Jun obviously didn't react. At this moment, his open mouth was unbelievable. What is the operation of the alarm? The Chin family is so awesome. When did you rely on the police to deal with these personal issues? Yes, just call the police.